Pro Wrestling Planet.
Boom, 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 boom. It's Pro Wrestling Planet podcast. Hello, my camera's over here. What's up? It's your excellent friend and Big Vito T. Does it look like a hostage video? Hey, send the money to pwplanet.com.
Blink twice if you're in trouble.
Vito, what is up, my man? All seriousness, all jokes aside, here we are. We're back again.
We're back. And we're
Mike's
spooky.
over here, the camera's over here, so it's, oh my goodness. It's time.
Spooky.
Without any further ado, yes. We're going to go back into the wrestling.
Way back.
Not the time machine, but what do we call it? The wrestling time capsule.
The vault. We're going back in the cock vault.
We dug even further. We
way
dug
back.
Deep down, all the way back to 1989, Big Vito team. We're going to be talking about NWA Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, I was noticing
1989.
that.
Yes.
I was noticing that a couple times throughout the show. I was like, oh, this is not WCW.
Technically,
this is NWA.
Technically prior to WCW, yes. So let's go on this journey. 1989. Gosh, I was 4 years old, bro.
Yeah. Yep.
4 freaking years old.
I had just turned 5 because it's October 28th, 1989. So I had just turned 5 years old. And we are in Philadelphia Civic Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
You got the wiki pulled up there?
I do, brother. I do.
What was the attendance on this bad boy?
7,300, it looks like here.
Oh, okay.
The tagline is settling the score.
The first,
and since we're way back
Halloween
in
Havoc.
Yes, the first one. Since we're way back in '89, I heard a couple things throughout the show to show context that I want to bring up here at the beginning. This is Lex Luger's 3rd year in wrestling, LOD's 6 years in wrestling, and this is Flair's 6th time as champion. He's in his 6th reign. So, as context, there's that.
Sounds pretty freaking evil.
Yeah, it's very early.
Very
early.
Not early, evil.
Evil.
It's evil. It's a lot of 6s in there, Vito.
Yeah,
this is Halloween Havoc. It's Halloween Havoc.
Spooky. All right. Did you notice it took 3 minutes to announce all the commentators? It took a long ass time.
Okay. So yes, there's not a whole lot of personal backstory to be had. We were little children. Of course, neither one of us watched this. I don't even remember this being a big deal to even like my bigger brothers or my father at the time.
No, this was not on my radar.
Barely. I don't know. I know that they were watching at the time, but this card, didn't entice them to buy this pay-per-view. Not that I can remember.
No.
This opening video was really short, but I mean, God, computer graphics have came a long way, haven't they? You just you really can see the dating in the digital effects.
I don't think they had computers or graphics on that. I think it's just a. Well, I guess I'd say just maybe graphic.
Right.
Un graphic.
We got what we got,
Yeah, man, hard to watch.
The show is going to be called by Jim Ross and Bob Caudle. who I forgot even existed.
Yeah.
Um, but his voice, was on a lot of these old NWA shows, and I was like, oh
You-
yeah.
Did you have a hard time listening to him?
I thought he was
Bob
fine,
Caudle. You know who he reminded me
but I
of, his
don't like
voice?
old Jim Ross either. The way his voice
Really?
was like so high pitched.
I was just going to say that.
His
High
voice got
pitched.
lower, I guess, after the Bell's palsy. I don't know. But I don't, something caused his voice to go lower when he was in WWE years later.
The other guy, his voice reminded me of Tony Schiavone, Bob Caudle.
A little bit, yeah.
I was like, oh, Brandon might be hating this. He did. He sounded like Schiavone to me.
Oh,
But, yeah.
no, he was fine. His voice synonymous with these old shows. But we have backstage announcers with Gordon Soley and
Yes.
Chris Cruz. Vito, I could not believe Chris Cruz was employed even back in 1989 NWA. I didn't know he dated back that far.
Yeah. I wasn't familiar with him, I guess.
Well, he was like the C show announcer in WCW in the later days. He would do
Oh,
like
okay.
Worldwide and WCW Pro or
Oh,
whatever,
okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah. All right.
And funny story, I don't know what happened. Don't really remember the details, but I somehow I ended up friends with him on Facebook. And I contacted him way back in the day to do the radio show. And I don't know. I don't remember the details, but I just remember it didn't end well. Little shoot story. Weird. Like, I don't know. He was like,
You guys have beef?
I wouldn't say we have beef. I'm not sure where it went wrong. It might have even been my fault. At times I could be immature when dealing with stuff like that, like if he if I felt like he was
young Brandon causing heat amongst the
who would have
elder
thunk it?
elder wrestlers. Who would have thought Brand getting heat?
Well,
Um,
I'm a heat seeking missile sometimes,
I guess.
apparently. But either way, I don't even remember, I wonder if I could dig the messages up. That would be real interesting. I think I deleted them long ago though. I just remember it didn't end well, so I don't I just wrote Chris Cruz is an asshole in my notes. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, all right.
But this show opens up with Z-Man Tom Zink against Mike Rotunda. No ring entrances. They're already in the ring.
Yeah, with a very young Nick Patrick as the referee.
Yeah.
Very young.
The refs are wearing the classic black and blue
with
bow
the
tie.
bow tie.
Yep. Bow tie setup, which I know you're a fan of.
Yep, we talked about this on the last show. It's the only referee shirt I accept that's not striped.
It's the only one that's acceptable.
Yes.
So we got that aesthetic covered in here. Man, this is just crazy. This whole show is a weird, but
it's so weird.
But really cool things. A lot of really cool little interesting things. Bray Wyatt's dad here, wrestling.
Yeah.
Against the Z-Man, who was gonna be a huge star. I was real into him as a kid, but after this little run here, it just kind of, I don't know what happened. It fizzled out. Guess I don't know.
Very beginning of the match, IRS, I don't know if there was a little tie-up first, but IRS told him to check him, and the ref just walked right up to him and like rubbed his arms. And I don't know if that was like if he told him to check him or if he told him to wipe him off. I wasn't sure, but I was like, if he told him to check him and if all he did was just like, I was very confused from a referee's perspective.
Does
So I just want to point that out.
a message, perhaps?
Yeah.
Rotunda, telling him to slow down or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was early on in the match when this happened. I don't remember this part.
At the very beginning.
At the very
Yeah, it was the
beginning, before they
beginning.
did
Yeah, I
anything.
think they might have touched each other like one time, and then IRS Captain Mike Rotunda said, "Yeah, check him," and then
Okay.
he did this, like a ref would do at the
Right,
beginning,
right, right,
check
right.
the ankles and the wrists and stuff like
Check
that.
him again. You didn't do a good
Yeah,
enough job.
yeah, exactly, that type of thing. Yeah. So, what's your thoughts on this match? What do you got? What do you got to say?
It was really, really slow.
Yeah.
A bunch of stalling stuff. Just fine. Then they do like a bunch of mat wrestling. Um, it was really slow going, but
Yeah.
I was surprised because then when they did do something like Z-Man did that bump to the outside, the crowd came alive then, so like they were with them through all that. But it was still just a super weird way to start a show when we think of like nowadays. You know what I mean? Like everything, usually your first match is like really fast paced,
Yeah.
but this is 1989, so a lot different. It still worked though. The crowd was still into it. I mean, they kind of
Well,
seemed bored, but
I look at a match right here, and I don't see a match that I would have replaced it with.
right. I mean,
So,
you could definitely say that.
uh,
Um,
so there was one thing that, and I texted you about this, and it's going to be a common occurrence that I say tonight. I'm going to try to talk about it in a not so hateful tone, but it's a problem I have. When, then again, also I want to point this out that I completely forgot everything that had to do with that pay-per-view, and so I'm only going off my notes right now. So
uh,
there's also that. So
yeah, no, I'm doing kind of 50-50 here. I've got notes. I do have a little bit of memory though as well. So
uh, Rotunda was doing holds with the ropes, and Z-Man no sold all of it. Like he was doing all this heel stuff, and then like the referee was kind of doing calls on it, and as soon as he let up off of it, Z-Man was cool. It was all good, roaring, going after him. I'm like, oh my goodness. There's
yeah,
and I was told this early on. There was that killed all the heel heat, and I was like, I was all dude. There was, I hate that idea of it, but still, it was like he did nothing. All the choking and all the stuff he was doing on the ropes, the eye gouging, the choking, the everything, all that was thrown away because as soon as he let go, Z-Man was okay, 100% okay.
right.
I'm just like, that's so frustrating to me. Anyway, that's one of my pet peeves for that match.
The
I like
psychology seemed whack.
the finish
Yes.
was interesting.
What did we get for the finish? It was a surprise roll up, right?
It was a reversal from a springboard crossbody.
Right, right,
Never
right.
really saw that for the. It was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, definitely not the
Hey, I was doing that during the whole show.
we're trying to stay. No, I'm not trying to stay awake. I just had something in my eye.
No, but I was doing that just like, oh my gosh, dude. Um, but after
So,
that, we get a pleasant surprise. I did,
Bruno.
yeah, Bruno,
Bruno
ref
hated the WWE at this time,
Thunderdome.
so
Yeah,
yeah, he's going to be the ref in this cage match.
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting.
which is hyped up to be an electrified cage, and we'll get we'll have more on that later.
Ooh, I'll try to keep that down too.
Next, we get the Midnights and Dr. Death with Corny
Yep.
himself,
Corny.
against Samoan SWAT team and Samoan Savage with the Big Kahuna.
Oliver Humperdinck.
Right. I had to look this guy up because it's like I
Me
knew
too.
he was familiar, but, no one really talks about this guy.
No.
But he had quite the
I
career.
didn't really know anything about him until I looked him up either.
Right. But you look, and he had quite the career, right? I mean, he
Yeah.
managed all sorts of people. For some reason, is not really talked about, especially in the, the mainstream WWE history, stuff.
Well, if you think about it, he retired in '93, which was the debut of Monday Night Raw. So he retired before me and you really got into our full swing. I mean,
guess you
we
could say
watched it
that.
beforehand, but the common, what's the word? Common household watching really happened with Monday Night Raw. Like you said, there was some Saturday shows, some stuff like that, but
Right.
wrestling really blew up with Raw.
It was pretty
And that
much,
was,
yeah, when it was
and
on, you watched
yeah,
it, but it didn't
yeah,
become like
this right
habit
there.
viewing.
Yeah, he retired in '93. It says. But yeah, I don't remember him.
A very young Rikishi here as well.
Yes, barely
Um,
recognizable.
right? Gosh. Was
And then
around a
two
long time.
Samoans who did nothing.
You know,
I looked both these guys up.
not really much for them after
No.
this. They would go on to be the head shrinkers in WWE.
Oh.
And they would win the tag team titles there, and of course, none of them on a Rock Roman Reigns level or anything, but still, these are members of the family. Not even a Snuka
Yes.
really.
No.
I don't know. I guess you'd kind of repair. Nah. Snuka was over like huge, like back in the day, like the 70s or whatever, right? So
Yeah. Well, Snuka was
Snuka was way
fan
bigger.
favorite in the early '90s.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
But he was later on in his stuff then.
Yeah.
But he was still awesome to us even then.
The Samoan Savage was another one that's on
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So yeah, really weird how you have a babyface Midnight Express and Dr. Death and Jim Cornette, everyone being faces was really weird. Cornette's usually synonymous with being like a heel manager.
Yeah.
But here they were definitely the faces against the Samoans.
You ever notice that if you come from an island, you wrestle barefoot?
Right? Is there something to that?
I don't know. I just found that really weird.
Roman's got boots.
Yeah, he's not from the island though.
He's right, yeah. Guess he's not exactly from the island. He just has
Yeah, and
heritage
I
to the
looked it up.
island.
These three Samoan guys, they're three brothers. I looked all of them up. They're brothers. They're not cousins or anything. Yeah.
So it's the three brothers then.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, I looked them up. And
The prior
another thing,
generation's Usos here, man.
yeah, yep, Usos and Solo Sikoa, which I like that guy. I don't want to get off topic, but I like him.
Right. So they're this is like their dad and uncles. Same type of deal, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So there you go.
Steve Williams.
The parallels to today's product, amazing.
Yeah. Let's talk about Dr. Death for a second.
Dr. Death was awesome here.
How great is he, man? How great is Steve Williams?
Yeah,
Steve, not that Steve Williams Williams.
yeah. Not Stone Cold Steve Williams,
No.
but no, he was great. He was super over here. This was the time. I remember this is my one of my older brothers. Both of them, they were really into Dr. Death. Thought he was the
Yeah.
coolest thing. Uh, when I'd watch these shows from this era with them, and I was like, yeah, okay, yes, because these are very. I don't remember watching this show specifically, but I was watching wrestling at this time when I was like 4
Yeah.
or whatever. So it was like, oh man, I remember this. I remember certain things, about this. Like not this show, but like this is when Dr. Death was kicking ass. It was very familiar to me.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
he's
it
really
was
good.
nice.
I haven't seen much of his early stuff, but this match he was great, and he probably was the MVP of this match, I thought.
Did you write down any kind of recap with the match? I didn't really write down anything besides my
I
thoughts.
I caught the Starcade was on a Wednesday after the
Oh yeah,
because Starcade was their
interesting.
next pay per view, and it's going to be on a Wednesday.
Yeah, back
I
then
wrote
they just
down
didn't
that
care.
there's a lot of no selling in this, a
it's,
whole
it,
bunch of it,
it's gonna be a theme.
lots of it.
Yes.
Anyway, there was a bulldog reversal into the corner, and I wrote down here that you don't see that a lot. It was kind of cool. Um, yeah, it was like they went to go do a bulldog, and he kind of just like threw him into the corner.
Right.
It was kind of
Okay.
cool. I liked it.
All right.
Um, oh, that's right. Towards the end of the match, JR said something about I don't know if he said the match or someone. He used the word unorthodox, and I wrote down here he meant sloppy. Oh man.
That's one of
Uh,
that's a go-to announcer thing, when a match is
yeah,
not like pretty. Oh, it's very unorthodox,
yeah.
you know.
So the finish. Did you write down the finish?
I sure did.
What'd you write down for that finish?
Dr. Death comes in like a house of fire, but Samoan SWAT team and Savage steal the victory.
Wow, that's a very colorful way to write the finish. You want to know what I wrote?
What's that?
I wrote the rope in front of Samoans win from a push to the headbutt to Cornette's chest. It was awful. Oh, anyway.
Yeah, it was this match was a mess. And it's weird that I don't know, but it's Philly, man, so the crowd was still hot.
Yeah, it was.
They
It was a
didn't really
good crowd.
care.
It was a good crowd. I had to admit that. I don't look at the crowd much, but I was like, dang, I'm impressed. But anyway,
I think that this would be the kind of thing though that would eventually cause uh, you know, ECW, like the fans having to watch shows like this.
you
I
know
don't know.
that I
Just
thought
a
was
theory.
interesting? What I did like about this show?
What's that?
The in between match promos were pretty good.
Yeah, no, they kept a consistent theme with
Yeah,
them. I
yeah.
would like to
For
see
example,
AEW do more of this during the pay-per-views.
yeah. For example, the next one, Terry Funk introduced fried chicken to us. It was pretty cool. I
Yes,
don't know.
this
I
was
don't know why
so
he did that.
great.
He's like,
There's
I'm gonna
gonna be
introduce
a new
fried chicken.
dance called the Electrified Boogie. That's my best Terry Funk.
He said, I'm gonna fry chicken. I'm like, okay.
Right.
I'm gonna introduce you to fried chicken. I'm like, sweet, this is gonna be the greatest wrestling match ever.
Referring to that Ric Flair was some kind of a chicken. That he was going
Yeah,
to fry him up, apparently.
yeah. I'm
But
like, this
this,
is gonna be great. Fried
uh,
chicken match.
my favorite part of the whole show right here was probably that Terry Funk promo. I could have turned it
Yeah,
off there. Probably could have been happy. Next, we get Cuban Assassin Fidel Sierra against
yeah.
Tommy Rich. Wildfire Tommy.
Wildfire. At the beginning
I
of this match, JR's putting over Cuba. You know that, right? Did you catch that?
well, right, of
He's
course.
solid putting over Cuba. I was like, are they in Cuba? I had to look it up.
Fidel Sierra worked everywhere. Was like did the Cuban heel thing all across and for a long time in Portland, even
Yeah.
here where we are in the Northwest. So shout out to that. Tommy Rich, I was a huge fan of in these days. This was like his second run though. In NWA stuff, as far as like he had a better run years prior apparently that I've never even really seen before, but I was into him here as a kid. I can remember being a Wildfire Tommy Rich fan.
Huh.
So yeah, Fidel Sierra worked everywhere. Tommy Rich was awesome. Vito, what did you think of this match?
There was I'm not,
It was,
early wrestling is so tough for me,
it was
man.
wrestling.
I learned something. I learned something about watching this pay per view. This it's just early wrestling is just hard to watch these days. There was a sketchy sunset flip by Tommy Rich. It scared the crap out of me. It was bad, but there was another thing that happened shortly after that that brought me back in. The assassin did a nice high knee. I was like, oh shoot, you didn't see that on like after that, like early like in Superstars and stuff like that, like in
Right.
'91 WWF and stuff like that. You didn't see like big high knees like that. But the one he did in 1989 was real nice.
He had a
So
very cool brawling style. It was my
yeah,
first match I had ever seen of his, and I was just impressed. Just the way he worked, I think would be very much a precursor to kind of like how a lot of the guys worked in like the Attitude Era. Like saw a lot of like Austin, a little bit of Austin, some guys like that, that
and
would
who
come into.
the assassin?
Yeah, and the assassin,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
just in
yeah,
the
yeah.
way he worked. It just like, um, Tommy Rich's style seemed a little bit, I mean, it's real dependent on just being like the fiery baby face. It's real dependent on being given things.
I
Um,
gotta say that the assassin looked better in this match than Tommy Rich did.
uh, for sure.
Yeah, because he did the sketchy sunset flip and the finish. He did not look good. The finish was not great.
That Thez press was very, not good.
No, no, it
And I
was
love Tommy
it was
Rich. God
so
bless him.
awkward. Yeah, I really like him, but that Thez press was so awkward landed.
Yeah.
But plus, it's Thez press for the finish. It's just very interesting
Wasn't that
finish.
weird?
Yeah, but
That
then
was
they
super
said,
weird.
"Oh, it's his Thez press. That's his move." I'm like, really? It's his
Yeah.
finish? All right, cool.
Next, we get a Freebirds backstage promo.
Oh,
This
hey, hold on a
Vito.
second. I
What?
just realized I haven't been doing this. Rotunda and Z-Man went 13-23. The tag team match went 18-23. And Tommy Rich and Cuban Assassins went 8-29. So,
God, that 6-man went
wow.
forever. That's why this
Wow.
seems so.
Jeez, that Rotunda match was long. Anyway, let's continue.
And the first match, yeah. I mean, God, you're talking, that's
Wow.
40 minutes in the first two matches.
I'd rather have a 13-minute Cuban Assassin Tommy Rich match than a Rotunda Z-Man
Maybe
match.
that's why this seemed like a breath of fresh air because it was so much
Yeah.
shorter
Yeah.
than the first two. Uh, this was very interesting, Vito. We get a Freebirds backstage promo. Of course, this isn't the Freebirds. This is the later reincarnation with Michael Hayes and Jimmy Garvin. But this is the one I remember seeing a lot growing up. And they're facing the Dynamic Dudes here with Jim Cornette as their manager. I don't remember Jim Cornette managing them ever, but apparently he did.
How many matches did the Dynamic Dudes actually have? It couldn't have been that many.
Could look it up here.
They could not have had very many matches.
But yeah, tell us a little bit about this, Vito.
First of all, I just want to go on record and say they haven't always been this bad because I've seen them in other things. But in this promo and this beginning of this match, the Freebirds are creepy, man. Super creepy. Like last week we were talking about all the cancellations on that ECW pay-per-view. Like the networks would have shut this thing off right here. Like Freebirds were being really creepy, especially Garvin. Real creepy. Yeah, I felt like calling the creepy police on him.
A lot of things. I mean, this, beyond it being, it was creepy, not in a Halloween way, right?
No,
I mean, yes.
no, that's spooky. No, creepy
Okay.
like I washed my whole body whenever I was done watching him.
Dynamic Dudes, 128 matches.
Whoa!
They wrestled. Looks like they were mostly.
Wow! I did not expect that.
Right, 128. We're talking. Their last match together was February 26, 1990. They defeated the Midnight Express by disqualification in an NWA TV taping at the Civic Center in Beckley, West Virginia.
Now, did you hear them say that Shane Douglas had a background in education and Johnny Ace had a background in marketing?
See, he should have never told anybody, man. He would have never had to be the dean, right?
How funny is that? They said that on air.
Yeah.
And then he became the dean, and Johnny Ace became basically marketing in WWE.
What a precursor, huh? They were always...
Look what you did, WCW. Look what you did.
They were always on that path.
Here's what happened. Freebirds came out to a Freebird pop. And then they did creepy stuff in the ring. And they got more cheers. Creepy was over in 1989.
Well, it's the gyrate, it's the same gyrations that the New Day do in present day.
Oh yeah.
So they're really just a white New Day.
Yeah, but they had the mustaches.
Right. Yeah. So yeah.
And I'm sure they drove a white van there. It was the whole thing.
Right.
Man. It was the whole thing.
But I was fascinated because I'm pretty sure the Freebirds were supposed to be like heels here, but they weren't.
Yeah. No, they were.
They were like everyone was just crapping on the Dynamic Dudes, and they wanted Freebird Mania. So I think they had to call a bunch of like audibles in this match, is how it seemed to me.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. They were just really creepy here. I love the Freebirds. I've always been a Freebird fan. I've always liked P.S. Michael Hayes. Yeah, I'm a fan. I love the Freebirds. I don't know if you noticed this. When was that ECW pay-per-view that we did last week?
That was 1998.
What year was it?
So
98.
9 years later, yeah.
Okay. Did you see that Shane Douglas had a brace on his elbow?
Maybe he's always had problems with it. Maybe he has Tennis
Always
elbow.
has a brace on his elbow. 9 years later, he's in an ECW pay-per-view and he's got a big ass brace on his elbow. Just wanted to point that out.
Makes sense to me.
I mean, look at all the people that they bring that up about. Bob Orton Sr. with the cast, right?
Right?
D'Lo Brown with the chest protector. They always bring those guys up. Shane Douglas scoots underneath the rug with the elbow brace from 1989 to 1998 and probably longer.
That's his gimmick.
Just saying.
You use what you got, right?
Yep, just saying.
If you're gonna tape it up or whatever, you might as well make a thing out of it.
Yeah. What's your notes for this match? What you got?
I mean, just like I said, I mean, I really just wrote down that it was basically just a big cluster. It was another one of those matches where I think they had a plan and it didn't work out exactly that way, and I don't know if they were really prepared for that or not. It seemed like they had to kind of change fees there on the on the fly. So, but it was interesting.
Johnny Ace did this sweet Young Buck move where he got a head scissor and a headlock at the same time, got both guys. Headlock, head scissor takeover. Nick Jackson does that with the Young Bucks. Then they had a drop kick party.
Want to tell you.
Instead of a super kick party. And
we are going to have a party tonight.
I was watching a 2011 CM Punk compilation where he's doing the imitation of Johnny Laurinaitis.
Right. Oh, it's just
2011 CM Punk was unbeatable on the microphone. Unbeatable.
Too fun to do. Cena did a good one too, from what I remember.
So, another reversal finish.
Right. Hayes pulls the leg. Somehow this renders Douglas absolutely useless. While Garvin gets the win. Finish really made no sense and came out of nowhere, but the Freebirds were over. The Freebirds were like worshipped like gods here in Philadelphia on this night.
Yeah. Yep.
Definitely, they would live it strong and they would continue on. I actually went I didn't go, but after I watched this show, I watched part of the next year's Havoc, and they were still around then, so they kept going strong. No spoilers intended.
Okay, so I got to read my note for the next promo. Here's my notes. Steiner seemed very confused, and Rick, with very 80s hair, seemed a little special and sexual assaulty.
Right?
That was my note for that promo.
Yeah. So they did the whole naive and dumb Rick Steiner gets distracted by the girl giving him attention gimmick, which has been done now like ad nauseum. I don't know. I mean, gosh, WWE had just done this gimmick a year or two prior with George the Animal Steel and
Elizabeth, yeah.
It's a tried and true, cliche. It's fine to do. It is what it is.
The woman, no pun intended, that he was talking about was I wrote down a note here that when I see Nancy, I say, "Damn."
Oh yeah. And hey, Mr. Damn himself in this match.
the debut of Doom. I found that caught me off guard. I didn't know that.
Really?
That's what they said. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
the debut of Ron Simmons and Butch Reed.
Right. Well, they were just calling them Doom 1 and Doom 2 during this, though,
Yeah,
which was interesting. They didn't have names. They still had masks. They
yeah.
still had a woman with their as their manager, which was for a very, very short time. Um, so yeah, this is a brief moment in time, and then they
Oh
they
yeah. So it's
changed up the
Steiners versus
gimmicks.
Doom. We didn't make that. I didn't make that
No, it's
apparent. I
fine.
just started talking about Nancy.
Oh, but you want to know something interesting? So we get all this canned music, right? Um, and it pretty much, I think there was only a couple of exceptions, and we'll get into that as they come. They didn't happen in this match though, but I thought it'd be interesting to note, Vito, that
Yep.
as I was watching this, it unlocked a core memory in my brain of watching this stuff Saturday, WCW set or into whatever it was back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, I think actually then they called it main event or something. Regardless, um, the Steiners would come out to Welcome to the Jungle
Huh.
by Guns N' Roses. Fun fact.
I've always been a Steiner fan.
So if you
I've always liked suplexes.
and you can kind of tell as they're whatever remake that they did here, it doesn't really quite. It's not, but it's got the same kind of feel as Welcome to the Jungle. That's why I was like, oh yeah, that's right. They came out to Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh, that Freebird match went 11:28. By the way.
11:28. So we
Yeah.
got a little bit longer, which is fine.
So
Kept
were you a
everything going.
Steiner fan?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Dude, the
I
Steiners
always
kick
liked the
so much ass.
suplexes because they can just
Suplexes,
grab them from anywhere and throw them. They
yes.
they did suplexes nobody else did. I always thought that was cool.
Clotheslines. They
Oh
would just
yeah.
take dudes' heads off with those clotheslines.
I wrote down
Uh,
here lots of clotheslines.
right? And of course, the
Yeah.
Frankensteiner. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's as far as we knew on Fort Street in Dillard, Oregon, man. Uh, he invented that move. That's what we thought. We had never seen Lucha Libre or any of that. He invented
You
that
know,
move.
another thing I noticed were tag team matches weren't as fluid back then.
Oh God, no.
They were very uh they were
Clunky.
just like yeah, they just were step by step. They weren't like the guys weren't in and out very good. It was just I don't know, it was weird. Like they were still getting it down. Like all the guys,
Well,
all
yes.
the tag teams were still getting how to do it down.
This match, because yeah, Doom. I mean, Butch Reed had been around a while, but Ron Simmons was still pretty new at this time, I believe. And the Steiners, I mean, at 89, I mean they were still both kind of green themselves.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil
Um,
the rest of the card, but I think this is my favorite match of the night.
really.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I enjoyed this match. Um, Best selling of the night. There was hardly. I don't remember any no sells, which has bugged me a lot for this card.
Right.
Uh, I think the finish was probably the best of the night. I've never seen that finish that I
That
can
was a
remember.
great finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, I've never seen. Have you seen it before?
No,
Me
I
neither.
can't remember seeing this, and I noted this here that like we need to see this finish again at some point.
Yes, I would love Fuego to get a win by doing this.
Right. Uh,
That's Fuego's heel turn. He just puts something in his head and goes, wow!
they tossed in, what was it? It was like a metal
Like a
thing.
metal disc or no, like almost looked like a fist pack
Right,
because it
right.
was it was pretty big.
And he puts it in the mask,
Yeah, puts it right up in his forehead
and then
and
headbutts
headbutts
him
him.
with it. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
I don't know why we don't see this more often.
yeah.
The only time
And
I
he
ever
got the
remember
pin with
this.
it still in his forehead.
Right, brilliant.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah, I love that match. That was a good match. I enjoyed it. Lots
It,
of big powerful slams.
it was clunky at the beginning, but it picked up at the end for sure.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, the tag in and out was not the best, but that's all these matches.
right.
Yeah.
It was just,
Yeah.
because you have two power teams. It's hard to establish a bunch of heat, when you have two power teams. But it was still very good.
Okay.
I haven't thought about if it's my favorite on the card, but maybe. And
Now we're going to talk about my least favorite match on the card.
we get a Luger
Unfortunately.
promo. Flying Brian used to come out to Rocket by Def Leppard. I figured I would write that down here as well. I do remember also that. I was thinking about their musics. Kind of lost in time. You did
So
not like this match.
this match, I wrote here is the Battle of the Mullets. The big
Mullets.
mullet showdown.
And I think they were both face here, so it was weird.
No, Lex Luger was heel.
He was supposed
He
to
was
be the
playing
heel?
heel. Yeah, because he was talking shit to the audience and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, he was doing it slow, and he was doing some Healy stuff. Not like Heelys, like he was wrestling with Heelys on. No, let's
Right.
move on from that. Um, uh, Pillman's speed is off the hook. His speed back then, for as big as he is and the way he was built,
Right.
is really he impressed me. He was the best part of that match. He's the only good part of that match.
Did it seem like the crowd favored Luger more, though? Because that's what I
No,
wrote down here.
I don't think so.
Is that I thought
Really?
that they liked Luger a little bit more. Maybe I was just...
I don't know. I got a couple things written down here that really bothered me, and a couple things that I liked. Pillman did this sweet reversal arm drag with a twirl. Did you catch that?
Yeah, he does that. That's one of
I
his
thought that was
things.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, arm wrench.
number 4, arm bar.
Okay. So Pillman holds his arm for half the match?
Yeah.
Quarter of the match? That's ridiculous.
Hey man, you got to work
It
the
got to
limb
where
sometimes.
it got to where they're both on their knees in the middle of the ring, and Pillman's still just holding his arm. Luger's talking to the crowd, not selling the pain. He's talking to the crowd, and then remembers, oh, he's got my arm. Oh, yeah. It's like, if you're talking to the crowd, you have enough sense in you to punch him in the face. Do not let him hold that for 10 minutes while you guys are just on the ground. Oh, man. It bugged me. Like, he held it for way too long. I don't know what they were thinking
This
doing that.
crowd was so hot that you could do weird stalling like that. They did
I
that in the
know.
first match.
It was so
And
weird.
it was fine. Like, people ate it because that Philly crowd would just, like, they were pissed off that you were doing that spot. And then it's like you just lock it in for even longer just to, like, spite them. You know what I mean?
And then
Like, that happens.
I thought it was interesting that one of the two guys did a chop in the corner, then another chop, and they're like, "Oh, Flair like chops," and I was like, "Oh yeah, Flair like chops back in '89. Good for him."
No, those were synonymous with him then. No one else did them.
I didn't know Flair like chops went all the way back that far. Good for him.
Yeah.
That's,
No one else really did the chop spots but Flair. That was a cool thing about NWA. at the time. I mean, it was very rare to see someone else do them. So
Uh,
they were Flair chops, you know.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. JR said that the show was being played in cable systems around America. So
Well,
that
there
was
you go.
cool.
Pay-per-view.
Cable systems around America.
Boy,
Those are
how
his
things have
exact words,
changed,
dude.
right?
Yeah. Um, there was a time where I wrote this down. There was a time there was a pinfall, and I think it was Luger was on top. He pinned him, and it was a two, and he was surprised it was a two, and the ref was just sitting on the ground like it was a two, guy, and he just stayed there like waiting for him to do something else. He just sat on the ground, and I was like, "You gonna get up?"
I think my note here pretty much sums it up when I said they didn't do much.
No, no, and the arm wrench thing really took me out of that match.
Yeah.
I hated it, and the finish sucked too. You remember what the finish was?
Yes, he dropped him onto the top rope weirdly. Almost
Hung
broke
him
his
out to
neck,
dry.
it looked like.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell
When's
is
he
this?
when's he do the torture rack? 93 when he comes to Raw? 94?
No, I could have swore he was doing the torture rack in this era. I don't know why they didn't do it here.
I don't know. That was my least favorite match because of that arm wrench thing. It was awful.
Yeah,
Go back and watch it again. He talks to the audience and he doesn't sell it one bit. Anyway, it was awful.
you know,
I love Brian Pillman. I kind of like Luger. 99 WCW Luger, not WWF Luger, not the narcissist.
both guys were young here, and they were trying to protect both guys in a way, you know, especially Pillman and
Yeah.
Luger. So that's kind of what we get, I guess, you know,
Yeah.
80s booking from that part. I believe this was,
And that was the U.S. title match. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I guess I should have done a little bit more research on this, but I think this is Dusty booking, if I'm not mistaken.
That went six. Oh, no wonder why it was so awful for me. It went 16:49.
See, yeah, I knew it went like
That
15,
was
16 minutes.
the third longest match in the show.
Jeez Louise. It
It
didn't
was
need to be.
no.
This needed to be one of those like 7, 8 minute ones where we got,
Yeah,
you know,
because they probably told him go out there and do 15, and
right.
Pillman spent 3 of it in an arm wrench.
Yeah. And Luger is more of a 7 to 10 minute guy.
Yes.
You're not gonna
yes.
get you don't want to go 15, 20 with Luger
No.
in general.
No, because he's boring.
Right.
He don't do much.
Yes, let him get it over quick. No. He would be the Brock like nowadays, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a less exciting Brock and Goldberg.
7 to 10 minutes out of there.
Anyway,
We get a Road Warriors promo, which was awesome. It was almost as good as the Terry Funk promo earlier.
yeah,
Get all the, you know, they hit all the points, you know, the catchphrases.
I think Hawk gets a little more exciting in a couple more years.
Right, but this is still good, laying the groundwork. They take on the Skyscrapers here, the Dan Spivey and Sid version.
Oh wait, I forgot. They called LOD underdogs. First of all, I thought that was interesting.
Right.
And Hawk says, skyscrapers are buildings, right? People make buildings, right? Who tears down buildings? People tear down buildings. And I was like, yeah,
right.
Get some.
Well, I think the Skyscrapers were undefeated at this point.
Yes. Yeah, they were.
Was what the deal was. So that's why they were considered the underdogs, but still, were they ever underdogs to anyone really in the scheme of things? Probably not.
No.
So
probably one of my
nice
top
try,
5.
Jim.
Probably one of my top 5, like, old favorite tag teams.
It was very controversial when I did not put them number 1 on the top 100 list. I've gotten a lot of flack for it on the Mothership channel. Some people understand why I put rock and roll first. Other people
We talked
don't.
about this.
Right. I mean, that was just, I have my reasons, but yes, yeah, I have gotten a lot of comments.
I haven't gone and checked those. I better go.
Road Warriors should be number one, bro.
I'm gonna go check those out. I'm gonna get down in those comments.
I understand. All right. I understand. It's all
But
good. We can all have our own opinions, but I
just let promoters know you can book Rock and Roll Express still, okay?
exactly.
You cannot book the Road Warriors. Rest in peace to Hawk.
Right.
But you can still book the Rock and Roll Express.
I mean, for time alone, yes, that is why I put, but regardless, that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah, anyway.
We get Road Warriors Skyscrapers here, which was fun.
Yeah. Teddy Long looking like a stud.
Oh, gosh. Road Warriors come out to an Iron Man knockoff. I believe they actually came out to the real Iron Man, but it sounds like a complete knockoff here. I don't know. Black Sabbath probably has a case against WWE if they wanted to take him to court over this interpretation of the song that they have on here.
Yeah, they had a sweet entrance. I thought their entrance was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Power guy match,
Yeah, but then the match starts, and what happens? There's an arm wrench that gets no-sold. I no longer believe the arm wrench, dude. If I see an arm wrench in AEW or WWE these days, I'm gonna just be like, you better sell the shit out of that. You better act like they're breaking your shoulder off your neck.
It's the most basic thing. It's the least you can do, right?
Yeah.
Politics, though.
Put a frown on your face, at least.
Sweat a little bit.
Don't blow a kiss to your girlfriend in the front row. Pretend like the dude's got some strength in him. Ugh. Anyway. Lots of power testing in this match.
Yeah, it's a very power guy match. Pretty back and forth. Skyscrapers cheat with the big key to get the victory.
I thought that was cool. The big key. I wrote that down too.
Right?
Sid, man, the young Sid is cool, man. He impressed the shit out of me.
Yeah, no, Sid is great.
He did a kip up. He did the F10, Wardlow's finisher. Before the Powerbomb Symphony, he did the F10 thing. Right? It's Wardlow that does the F10, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Spivey no-sold the shit out of this clothesline from Hawk. He no-sold it so bad that Hawk just kind of fell off. And he just Hawk was selling the move from before still. So he kind of fell down afterwards. And Spivey just got back up and grabbed Hawk and was doing the next move. I'm like, dude, what the... How is that possible?
I love to get the backstory on this because, it just sounds like they were just trying to out, like they would no-sell something they did, so they'd have to pay him back and no-sell something that they did, and it was just it went like ping pong back and forth.
Did you see that Hawk did him and Animal's finish without Animal because Animal was getting beat up, and Hawk was on the rope, and he kind of did their the clothesline.
Yeah.
He did the finish to, I don't know who it was, Spivey maybe. He did the clothesline,
right,
from the rope without him being on Animal's shoulders.
It's not the.
I thought that was kind of cool.
It's not the Doomsday device. It's the. It's the Tuesday device.
Yeah. It's just there. It's just a device.
It's just a Tuesday. Yeah, just the device. There you go. But Scrapers cheat to win.
That was 11:39. Man, the timing on these matches is so off.
Sting, Flair, and Ole promo. This was not one of the best Flair promos, but it was fun.
Designated Terminator.
Yes. Person
That's a
has to.
term.
Yes. That's the official term for the person that would throw the towel into the match. It's the only way you could end it.
And
The
the
Thunder.
Terminators are Ole Anderson, which was nice to see Ole, and Gary, not that Hart.
No, not that hard, even though it's spelled the same way.
Yep. Or Gary, not those Hart.
Right. No relation. Thunderdome Electric Cage.
Yeah. It was electric somewhere.
I
It was
will.
electric where it burnt down that burlap
Yes.
sack.
I
It took
will.
Muda's spot.
I will note that the Sting music is real. That's the
Oh,
actual Sting music from those days. So they apparently somehow got rights to that with WCW. So cheers to
nice.
that. But
Yeah,
that is
nice.
legit. I'll drink to that one. And yes, the cage catches on fire, which should have been an omen, right? As it's like coming down, just like no. But this
What?
match,
What
what
was all that shit? Was it burlap sacks and tree branches?
they're supposed to
What
be,
was all that?
they're supposed to be like Halloween decorations, I believe.
Yeah, that's the other thing about this pay per view. It's not very Halloweeny at all. There's a lot
Right.
of Havoc, not
Yes.
very Halloweeny.
This is what you got for the Halloween type stuff.
Yeah, the cage, the burlap sack it looked like a burlap sack to me. That's what I've been saying this whole time. Burlap sack caught on fire,
Yep.
and Moolah, fabulous, the fabulous Muda had to use his mist spot to put it out.
The Great Muda, yes. The fabulous
Uh,
Muda.
yeah, no, I
Um,
actually said Mula, so I figured I'd go the whole way.
the fabulous Beulah McGillicuddy.
Anyway, the Great Muda missed
This
his
a
mist spot because he had to put the fire out with it.
precursor to Hell in a Cell here, you could say. A big
Yeah,
cage that surrounds the ring. Can't say
and
I
it doesn't
saw this
have a
often.
top, but it does have a curve, kind of, that
Yes.
makes it hard to climb out.
Curvature to prevent climbing out. I don't know why they don't do something like this nowadays. I think it'd be fun. But yes, the electrified gimmick, which was obviously a gimmick in the end, even though
Yeah.
it really, I mean, the fire actually really kind of sold the fact that the electric thing was real.
The only person
Um,
to get shocked that I remember was Muda raised his
right.
hand up and got shocked, and it was just like, oh yeah, that hurt. Um, JR says, just to let you guys know, there's no rules in this match. And then they went to the ring, and both guys got out of the ring, and I was like, oh, no rules except tag in and out. Okay,
Yeah. Very
that's
weird
interesting.
dynamic. Yes. It
Um,
should have just been like a tornado. Like
and
why? Yeah.
then something happened that made me kind of sad inside.
What's that?
JR says, uh, he used to be part of the Blade Runners and said
Oh man.
his partner hasn't progressed like he has.
Oh
I was like, oh no,
man.
poor Jim.
People were taking shots even back then. Of course, this is
Man,
coming from the other side.
that's harsh, man.
I mean, Warrior Mania was running wild on the other side at that point. So yes.
In '89,
Oh yeah.
really? Huh.
I mean, WrestleMania 6 was in 90.
Okay, all right.
So, I mean, at this point, he would have been Intercontinental Champion in WWF. Warrior would have been. So,
Okay.
it was silly, man, at times, but they did some all right stuff, and it was just a lot of fun seeing Muda, seeing Funk, seeing Flair, seeing Sting. I mean, I would have ordered it probably if I was calling the shots. But I was 4
No,
years old at the time, so
one of the things that I said on here was Funk looked ripped, dude. He was in great shape.
right?
Yeah, like they showed his abs at one point. Like they
Yeah,
focused in on him and his abs. I was
he
like,
had a six
dang,
pack.
dude,
I'm like, I
he
don't
looked
remember
awesome.
Funk ever having a six pack. That's
No,
crazy,
another thing I thought was I think this would have been cool as a four-way instead of a tag match.
right? Yeah, but that's
Yeah,
before they even did four ways, bro.
yeah,
No, that match didn't even exist really at that point.
yeah.
Think about that. I didn't ever hear of a four corners match till like maybe 5, 6 years later, at least on on a major scale. Anyway, in one of the big two companies, but
So I had my major problem with this match was there was a lot of useless cage climbing, whole bunch of it.
yes,
Then
right.
they started doing some Tarzan stuff that was really not necessary.
Well, right. You think about it, like, why would you want to climb up to the electricity? Wouldn't you want to stay as far away from it as possible? It makes no
Yeah, and there
sense.
was no electricity anywhere. No
And
one
it,
was getting shocked.
and it's not like you can necessarily drag your opponent up to you know what I mean? It just
Was this before Terry Funk
it made no sense.
sacrificed himself to the good stuff? Because if this isn't, then Terry Funk should have been up there, shocked himself, and then flew down into the ring. That's what I was hoping for,
Right.
but I didn't get it.
No,
I
he
got
didn't
Muda with a
quite.
little zap.
He would do some, some more hardcore type stuff even back then, but he wasn't doing the real crazy stuff yet. Like he hadn't been to Japan to do the death match tournament or anything like that. But just prior, the build up to this, the Wrestle War '89 show, I believe it was after Flair won the belt or whatever with Steamboat. I think that's where Funk like pile drove him through that table. And that's one of
Yeah.
the earlier like table spots that you'll see in NWA or WWF stuff. So take that
Yeah.
for what it's worth. Take oh
Yeah, so this match, that's really what I took from it. Bunch of useless climbing, weird Tarzan stuff, trees inside the cage for some reason, like
there was
woven.
trees in it.
It's like trees were woven within the cage. I don't know why.
It
The
was a woven
electricity
war.
was minimal. So, and the finish was interesting. I don't know, the finish I thought was pretty good, but it was interesting. I knew it wasn't going to be straight up. No one's going to just throw the towel in.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, it was a thing where Hart like slips or whatever, right? And the towel goes flying.
Yeah, yeah, he gets hit.
Yeah.
Uh, Muda threw a chop, and Bruno took a right. Right, he hit him or something like that.
Great Mood is
Gary,
awesome.
yeah,
Here we sit in 2023 where he's having his final set of retirement matches,
yeah.
or just had them, I guess. I don't know, something like that.
He's in the middle. He's on his tour out. He
Uh,
wants to face Shinsuke as his last match, but Triple H ain't having it.
34 years ago, this was, and he was. I mean, was it his prime? I don't know. It was his American prime, you could say.
Yeah.
Had some really good years in Japan, though, of course, after all this
Oh,
stuff. I wish he
I
would
mean,
have stuck around America. I was a huge fan. My brothers were as well. Thought he was really.
10 years after this, he's in the NWO. You know what I mean?
I loved it when they brought him in for the NWO appearances, but he didn't really do much. He was just kind of
No.
there.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, and then just what last year he was in a trios match with Sting and Darby Allin.
Right.
It's like,
That was nice to see. We covered that.
yeah, yeah.
We covered
So
that right here. Just
right
like we
here,
cover everything.
Most stuff.
Almost everything.
Yeah, what we can. But this this match went 23-46.
Yes.
I didn't dislike this match. There didn't seem much meat and potatoes to it, but I didn't dislike it.
You know, the whole show was fun, but not something particularly I want to go back and revisit. Probably
Yeah, I
ever.
think our future shows are going to be a little further up the timeline.
Don't think
I think
I'll
we're gonna
be.
think we're gonna stay 90s and above, folks.
I can't point to anything on the show and say, yo, you gotta go back and watch this.
No, you
There's
don't.
really nothing here.
Just take what we have talked about today, and
Oh yeah, Bruno Sammartino was there.
yeah, he's the ref of the Thunderdome, guys,
He
and he
was
hit
there.
somebody only one time,
Yeah.
so
So there you go.
that was cool. Yeah. So
What are we covering next time? Do we know yet?
we are going to do a. Should we do a WWE pay-per-view next, or should we go ahead and do an ROH pay-per-view next?
We're moving on into we're expanding into promotions.
Yes, because we did ECW, we did WCW, we were gonna do a WWE, but should we go ROH first?
You
What are
know,
we thinking?
I'm gonna toss a coin.
Oh,
I'm gonna flip
oh,
something.
fate. Oh man,
I'm gonna flip something. I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't have a coin here.
you don't have a. You broke.
I was gonna say, well,
You don't got a penny to your name.
I don't.
No penny, no dime, no nickel, no quarter. Look at you,
No penny. I mean, oh, wait a
man.
minute. Guitar pick. Here we go. So, oh wait, there's no way to distinguish which. Or the way you guess it. Okay, so one side says USA
man.
Nylon.
Go get one of the boys. Flip them.
The other side says Jim Dunlop. So
Okay.
Dunlop side up. We're doing WWE. USA Nylon side up. We're doing ROH.
All right.
We're flipping the pick now. We're on the Jim Dunlop side, so we're going to have to go with the Fed.
Okay. We're going with the Fed. So there you have it, folks. Our next show will be something from the Fed.
You'll find out when you see it.
And I promise you this. Let me make this Big Vito T promise. It will be from 1990 or above.
Yes, please.
Promise.
Big Vito T.
93 or above. All right. What's up? See you later. What's going on?
Until next time.
Yeah. Hope everyone enjoyed.
Yes. I think they did. You know, we were able to take this very average promo, this very average or sub-average pay-per-view. And,
oh, what do you give this show, by the way?
Oh, my God. Well, I'm not going back and watching it ever. I would say 2 stars at best.
Yeah.
This was not this was not the most enjoyable experience.
I'm gonna go overall. 1.5 star only because I really liked only 1 or 2 matches.
Yeah.
So,
there's just nothing here. It's nice as a whole because there's a lot of people you get to see. And
actually, I'm gonna go 2 stars because a half for each of the 2 matches I liked and 1 whole star for all the promos. So 2 stars.
I love the time period. Hey, we tied.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
Promos get it for me. Promos get the whole star for me.
I love the time period and the overall sense of the show, but not something I'm ever watching again.
All right. Too sweet me, baby.
For more shows, pwplanet.com. We are out till next time. Have a Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year.
Spooky.
What are we doing? Here we go.
We're being spooky.